Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to the latest episode of our 1993 WWF save on TEW9. We're just a couple of weeks away now from Wrestlemania 9. The biggest one of the year, the biggest event, Wrestlemania. In real life it was the worst one in history. Can I do any better? We'll have to wait and see. So a couple of pre-show matches to start us off. We have Ed Moretti against Owen Hart in a poor pre-show match. Owen Hart defeated Ed Moretti in 7 minutes 6 seconds by submission with a sharpshooter. The wrestling was 48, the crowd was 33, 57 for the overall segment. We have Sensational Sherry managing Owen Hart in this match because we want Sherry to go back into management. Owen Hart was a guy I thought maybe it could work. There's no negative chemistry, so it's quite possible that going forward, Owen Hart may have Sherry as his manager. Let's move on. Bam Bam Bigelow takes on Bob Holly. Really pleased with this segment rating. Wow, 76 overall as Bam Bam Bigelow defeats Bob Holly. We had good wrestling and a decent reaction from the crowd, and Bigelow gets the win in 8 minutes 54 by pinfall with a diving headbutt. So it was a 66 for the wrestling, 37 crowd, 76 overall. Yeah, happy with that. And then Bob Backlund teams with Randy Savage to take on Rick Martel and Rick Thames. Wanted to get Savage on the card somewhere. Why not put him in some tag team action? Why not just mix things up a little bit? Gives the fans that are in attendance, something different to watch. So it's a decent pre-show match. Backlund and Savage got the win in 10 minutes 18. Savage pinned Rick Martel with a flying elbow drop. So Savage was head and shoulders above everyone else, and Rick Thames was the weak link. Didn't really expect anything different. 60 for the wrestling, 53 for the crowd, and 71 overall. Yeah, another good one. Happy with that. We've got a gimmick change. It's just going to be Rick Thames. He's a badass, rated very good, but I mean, we're not going to be doing anything with him. Let's head into the main show. Jerry Lawler and Jim Ross open us up, and they just talk about who we're going to see in action tonight. We're going to see Razor Ramon take on Crush, and we're also going to see the Big Boss Man and the Head Shrinkers in action. So 77 overall. Happy with that. The crowd is simmering. And this is absolutely terrible. And the crowd is now unclear. Once you get unclear, you can't get out of it. Adam Bomb taking on Coco Beware then. Decent reaction from the crowd. Terrible wrestling. Adam Bomb got the win in 7 minutes 15 by pinfall with a meltdown. 36 wrestling, 41 crowd, and 32 overall for the segment. Adam Bomb and Coco Beware didn't click. Yeah, we're just giving Adam Bomb some wins here against people that are slightly higher up the card than him. We want to get Adam Bomb over, but, well, is it worth it? Gene Okerlund then interviews the Intercontinental Champion Marty Jannetty in the ring. So he introduces the Intercontinental Champion Marty Jannetty, and then he says, Marty Jannetty, Intercontinental Champion. How does it feel standing here with that title? And Jannetty says, Gene, it feels great. I fought hard to get this belt, and I'm ready to prove I deserve it by defending it against anyone. Then, of course, the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels, sexy boy, plays over the announcing speakers, plays over the public address system. That's the official word for it. And he comes out glaring at Jannetty, and he says, you enjoying my title, Marty? Because that's all it is. Borrowed property. I want my rematch. And Jannetty says, you want it? WrestleMania. I'll be there. And Shawn, the ending goes my way. Again. And then Michael steps close, pointing at the belt. And he says, enjoy it while you can, champ. At WrestleMania, the Heartbreak Kid takes back what's his. And then Okerlund says, it's official. Jannetty versus Michaels for the Intercontinental title at WrestleMania 9. Yeah, just a small segment to get this match announced for WrestleMania. We're always going to do this. We're always going to have Shawn against Jannetty. I didn't quite know what way I was going to do it. I have decided now what way it's going to go. I won't ruin it. Be good actually if you guys could do some predictions. I might do that actually after I didn't do this for the Royal Rumble, but I remember when I did my WCW save in TW20, I did predictions. I might do that. So yeah, get your predictions in soon for these matches that have been announced. 66 rating overall. The storyline unfortunately lost heat, and the crowd is still unclear. Big Boss Man takes on Skinner. Good heat and decent wrestling. Big Boss Man got the win in 10 minutes 40 by pinfall. 58 wrestling, 56 crowd, 66 overall. We're not really doing an awful lot with the Big Boss Man, so wanted to use him. Don't want people to forget about him. I do kind of want to do something with him soon. Not quite sure what yet. I've got a little idea maybe for him to have a feud with. Sensational Sherry then comes to the ring and she says, I've been out of the spotlight for a little while, but now I'm back and I'm ready to get back to doing what I do best, managing the best talent in the WWF. So watch out, because Sherry's looking for new clients. And when I find the right one, the whole world will notice. So yeah, you've already seen she was managing Owen Hart in a pre-show match. That didn't go badly. So Owen's a candidate. There might be a couple of others I'm thinking about. 62 rating overall. Let's move on to our next match. Lex Luger comes to the ring ahead of his match against Virgil, but Sergeant Slaughter, his music hits. I'll read what I've actually written. So Lex Luger stands in the ring, posing confidently before his match. Suddenly, Sergeant Slaughter's music hits. The Sarge marches to the ring with a stern look and a padded forearm cover in hand. You know what's coming. Sergeant Slaughter says, "Attention, Luger. I've concluded my investigation into that so-called superhuman forearm of yours, and the results are crystal clear. You've got a metal plate in that arm from surgery from 3 years ago." And the crowd reacts loudly. Luger protests, shaking his head. And Sergeant Slaughter says, "From this moment forward, by official WWF ruling, you are required to wear this protective pad every time you step into this ring." And he hands the pad to Luger, who looks furious. And Sergeant Slaughter says, "And let me make this perfectly clear, mister. If you fail to wear it, you'll be disqualified on the spot, and you may face further sanctions. Now put it on, and let's see if that forearm of doom still works." And then Slaughter steps back as Luger reluctantly straps on the pad, fuming as the match is about to begin. 62 rating. You knew this was coming. This is how I wanted to do it. Lex Luger will now have to wear this pad. Obviously, all the time he's a heel, he's going to try and take the pad off and use his arm. Let's see how that goes. The match gets a rating of 60, but it is Luger that he still gets the win. 7 minutes 13 by pinfall with a pile driver. This was a storytelling match because there is a kind of storytelling of, can Luger get away with taking the pad off? In this match, you can see there's moments where he's waiting to see if the referee's distracted by anything. Can he take that pad off? Can he use it against Virgil? There are times where he's almost got it off, but the referee kind of turns back. He's put it back on. But we've given him a different finisher here. He'll be using the pile driver going forward whenever he can't use his forearm. Wrestling rating of 60, 58 for the crowd, 60 overall. Lex Luger and Virgil had great chemistry. Wow. Interesting. Maybe if they were both higher up the card. Who knows what we could have got. Then we've got our news segment. So Sean Mooney introduces some promos for some workers. Actually, you forgot to put Mooney in the angle. He usually brings it down. That wasn't deliberate, but it wasn't a great rating anyway. We get 60. So Sean Mooney introduces promos from Mr. Perfect on Doink the Clown, and we have promos from Money Inc. and the Nasty Boys as well. So Money Inc. First of all, Ted DiBiase says, "At WrestleMania, the Nasty Boys are stepping into a financial disaster, courtesy of Money Inc., and probably with a little bit of help from the Megamaniacs." IRS then says, "And when we're done auditing those bums, they'll owe us more than they can ever pay." And then DiBiase says, "Everybody's got a price, especially the Nasty Boys." And then the Nasty Boys, they cut their promo. "Money Inc., you've been running your mouths off long enough." Brian Knobbs says, "At WrestleMania, we're going to collect nasty style." And then Sag says, "You're looking at the next tag champs." So yeah, just a small promo really. I do like to do these though. Unfortunately, both storylines lost heat here that we had involved. 60 rating isn't great. This crowd really needs to up its game. Or we need to up our game to excite the crowd. Jim Duggan teams with Kamala now to take on the Head Shrinkers, and we get a decent match. The Head Shrinkers got the win in 9 minutes 17 when Samu pinned Kamala with a double diving headbutt. 58 for the wrestling, 50 crowd, 65 overall. Nothing spectacular. We don't want to forget about Duggan and Kamala. They're good, solid sort of mid-card guys, The Head Shrinkers, we're trying to get all our tag teams over as much as we can, really. Then we have Gene Okerlund backstage with Bret Hart. And Bret Hart is looking furious. And he says, Hitman, you've heard the news. Lex Luger has been ordered to wear a protective pad over that metal plate in his forearm. Your reaction? And Bret says, Gene, all I ever wanted was a fair fight. If Lex Luger's walking around with a loaded forearm, then it's about time somebody put a stop to it. Now that the truth is out, I'm challenging Luger to meet me at WrestleMania. Man to man, no excuses. And Oakland says, strong words from Bret Hart. Will Lex Luger accept? Of course he will. It's another match announced for WrestleMania. It's a rematch. Obviously, we had Luger beat Bret because of the use of the forearm. Bret gets an opportunity for revenge. 78 rating. The crowd is still unclear. It's so difficult to get them out of this. I don't know what you've got to do to get from unclear. I mean, maybe we need a rating in the 90s somewhere. Crush takes on Razor Ramon in our main event. I mean, yeah, the crowd is still unclear. This is unfortunate. So we had fantastic heat and good wrestling. Razor Ramon defeated Crush in 15 minutes, 5 seconds by pinfall with the Razor's Edge after distraction from Hulk Hogan. Now, Hulk Hogan didn't come out to distract Crush, but Crush did get distracted. What kind of happened here all through the match? Ramon was more bothered about facing the curtain and sort of calling Hogan. And, you know, Hogan, I want you. Come out here now. Hogan, I want you. Come out here. Face me, man on man. Hogan obviously doesn't bite until towards the end of the match. He does come out, and Crush is kind of like, what are you doing out here? This is my moment. This is my time. This is my match. Crush already thinks he's being a bit forgotten about. And now this is just another case of, you know, hold on a minute. You're taking some spotlight away from my match here. Crush obviously gets distracted, gives Razor Ramon the advantage. So we get a 70 wrestling rating, 70 crowd, 73 overall, which isn't actually too bad. I'm quite pleased with that. The storyline between Ramon and Hogan did advance. Hogan grabs a mic and he says, he's leaning into the ropes, the mic in hand. And he says, well, here I am, brother. I showed up. Just like you wanted me to. So what's your plan now, tough guy? And Razor picks up a mic himself, pacing with that trademark swagger. And he says, my plan, Chico? My plan was to bring you out here. And you walked right into it. You think Razor Ramon is impressed, huh? I've been calling you out because I want the big fish. Hogan steps onto the apron, pointing at Razor. And he says, then say it to my face, brother. Razor walks right up to him and he says, fine, the biggest stage of them all, WrestleMania 9, you and me. Hogan nods, intense. And he says, you got it, dude. At WrestleMania, the only thing getting carved up is you, Razor. And then Razor Ramon smirks and he flicks the toothpick at Hogan. And he backs away as the crowd erupts. And Hogan fires up to close the segment. Rating of 80. The storyline gained heat, which is really good. So that's another show we've announced. This episode of Raw really was just announcing the final kind of matches. There's one more to announce. It's kind of a bit of a throwaway match, so it kind of doesn't really need much of an announcement, but I'll probably do it next week's Raw anyway. But yeah, rating of 80. Let's see what we get overall. A 74, I mean, could have been a lot worse, bearing in mind that crowd just was not into it. We did lose popularity in 8 regions, though, and 7 regions we gained. Financial report, we made 114,000. So yeah, popularity recap. We know we're going to have lost in these states. Unfortunate. Let's have a quick look at our emails. Drug test fees. Yeah, we don't really worry too much about those. And the Monday Night Raw figures. Now, after the episode of Raw last week, when the Megamaniacs beat Money Inc. by disqualification. Or was it count out? I think it's count out. There was an injury to one of the competitors. And it's a good job I didn't give the belts to the Mega Maniacs, because Brutus Beefcake was injured. He actually was injured for about 40 odd days, and I performed surgery. He's only out now for 19. He will miss WrestleMania, but he wasn't involved anyway. I think he can still work angles. Whether we can have him at ringside in Hogan's match, not sure. But yeah, kind of a good job there that we didn't put the belts. I never obviously intended to, but do kind of think, wow, if I had done an injury. Let's have a quick look at the storylines, because again, we had a couple lose heat. I mean, they're still all extremely hot. We have got nothing to worry about as far as storylines are concerned. We have one more episode of Raw until WrestleMania 9. I hope you have enjoyed this episode. Please give a like and subscribe and share it if you want to. I know a couple of people have said that they've been recommended certain episodes that's got them into this series. Thank you very much. Again, the interaction's been superb. Some of you guys have been really kind with your comments. Some of you as well are a little bit close to guessing what some of my plans are. But it's okay. It's all good. Doesn't mean you're necessarily right, and I won't tell you which ones. But it's good to see that you guys are maybe on the same wavelength and got a similar vibe to what was sort of going on in that era. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed it. Catch you in the next one. Goodbye.